Jags did deliver a victory. What's the first thing that jumped out on you when you watched the film this week?
Mac Jones played well.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, the difference between his performance in this game versus all the other ones is just night and day. That's the difference.
What was it about this game that you saw that you think he approached it differently, or just did he execute better?
And I've said this before with Mac, and a lot of times when he would have a flash, of opponent's color, that his eyes would drop, his feet would not remain calm. And look, the offensive line, we had been talking about this, had been doing pretty good, right? And have been protecting him, and he really didn't trust his offensive line. And we just kept saying, hey, look, he's got to trust his protection because it's been there. And this game, I thought he trusted the protection. The protection was good. In fact, one of the video things that I'm going to do is literally watching Mac Jones's feet. And literally, if you just watch his feet and ignore the throw, you can sit there and go, oh, yeah, that's probably going to be a good throw because you watched his feet. And his feet were calm. He stepped into the throw. He's following through. And that allowed him to be accurate in this ball game. And so credit to him. He did trust his protection. He was accurate. Look, he wasn't Patrick Mahomes, but it was really solid. And one of the better games I think that he's ever had as a pro, by far the best game that he has ever had as a Jaguar quarterback.
Yeah, Fred Taylor was enamored. I think he's enamored with Mac's energy, right? And we talked about it in the post game, and he's like, hey, man, tell Mac Jones I want to hang out with him. Let's go have a beer with him. But he said he would love to play with a guy that is that animated, that is – general rule
can be good and bad,
right? Is that a good thing for a quarterback in particular?
Well, I mean, I think and I've said this before, and that with anybody, and if somebody's got a lot of energy, and a lot of times that energy is being projected as I want to be a leader, and that you have to have the performance before you have the outspoken part of that, because if not, then basically your teammates are going to be telling you to shut the hell up. Because don't talk and don't try to lead until you take care of your own house. You know what I mean?
But is that how it manifests for him? Like, I don't read it like it's him trying to say, follow my example. I just feel like he takes in those moments of joy and just expresses it.
That part of it I think is great. I think, but when you're trying to motivate your teammates sometimes, which is a lot of that is, you got to be real careful. With that, because performance has to come before all of that. But I love, the energy. I think a lot of times the energy gets in the way of him thinking clearly, especially when he gets on the boundary. He makes another mistake on the boundary. Right. We just throw the ball away instead of sitting there trying to be antagonistic towards an opponent when you're at the boundary there. But, look, I appreciate anybody that plays the game with energy. Because I think sometimes it's hard to find the energy to do so, especially when you're where you are. Team's not very good. You're a backup quarterback. You're trying to find a way to put some good plays together so maybe your resume looks a little bit better and your future destination is unknown. And if he can find a way to have energy, and that kudos to him. And I think which is a great thing.
If he has another performance like he had in Week 17, in the final game of the year,
he could make millions off of it.
You think? I mean,
Well, here's why, Mike. I mean, there's what teams do typically when you have a guy who, okay, let's say, look, I scouted you both, and you both really liked you guys. Look, like scouting reports were good. We felt good about you. We had you rated high. Hey, look, it just didn't work out that we were able to draft Mike and Tony. You guys went elsewhere and didn't perform well, didn't have the year or career that we were thinking that you would have early on. And then all of a sudden you guys become free. I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at my scouting report that I had for you guys and kind of rely on that more so, on top of the performance that I've seen, because, the one thing about coaches and general managers and personnel guys, they have this strong belief that they can coach them up. Their scouting report is right. It's just they weren't handled correctly. So he's got a good scouting report. A lot of people felt very good about Mac Jones. And then he also has going for him that New England, the situation there was not exactly managed well because of the multiple coordinators, the lack of experience with some of those coordinators. And so if he can end up finishing this season with 2 strong performances, people are going to look at that. They're going to go back to their scouting reports. They're going to say, hey, here's where we had him. We liked him. They're going to say, hey, look, he had a tough time in New England with all the different things that Belichick did that really were not favorable for him. In Jacksonville, the first couple games that he played, now he got comfortable. You can see what's happened now that he's got some experience under his belt in Jacksonville. So this game means a ton for Mac Jones, this game in Indianapolis. If he plays well, this could literally make him tens of millions of dollars.
What do you see the likelihood being? Do you think he gets the chance to go somewhere? Let's say, again, he plays just like he did against Tennessee. Do you think he gets the chance to go somewhere? I know you can't speak for the other 31 teams, but do you think someone will give him a chance to actually compete for the starting job?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. Yeah, I think somebody would pay him to come in and compete. His performance so far this year, I don't think has gotten to the level of we're bringing him in to be the guy, but I think it.
But I mean, as opposed to like saying, a team with a clearly established quarterback saying, hey, we want you to come join us as a high-level backup.
Yes. Yeah, to answer the question, yes. I think like, for example, like this past year, if you took last year and then projected it to the future, there's a lot of teams. Carolina was kind of unknown with the young quarterback, Bryce Young. The Raiders had 2 guys that they brought, or 1 guy they brought in to compete with a young player. I mean, that type of situation for Mac Jones, I think, could be a perfect type of landing spot for him to come in and compete for either a young player that's there that's established that wasn't a high draft pick, or somebody who is essentially a stopgap holdover that you're trying to make work until you can get a high pick.
Yeah, to me, I see, and who knows, I can't speak for other teams, but I think maybe the best case scenario I see, because I think a lot of the teams like that filled their quarterback of the future role in this past draft. A couple more will do that this year. To me, I see maybe the best case scenario being somebody signing him to be the bridge quarterback, to come in, be the presumptive starter to open things up, because we don't know if Shedeur Sanders will be ready on day 1, or we don't know if Cam Ward's going to be ready on day 1, that kind of thing.
I mean, maybe, look, the reality is that the better you play, whatever that role is for you in the future.
Oh, sure.
Whether it's brought in to compete, brought in to be hold the position until this young player is ready, whatever that is, even as a backup. If he plays better this game, again, he's going to make a lot of money, because whatever position of those 3 kind of situations that we're talking about, it's still going to make him demand more money if he has a really strong last game to finish out his tenure with the Jaguars in strong fashion.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars.